session for Monday, September 30th. We'll begin approximately 10:05 a.m. with Coach Connell Maynor with Alabama A&M. At 10:15, we'll be joined by Coach Eddie Robinson with Alabama State. At 10:25 will be Coach Cedric Thomas with Alcorn State. At 10:35 will be Coach Raymond Bethune-Cookman. Coach Mickey Joseph with Grambling State. 11:05 will be Coach Alonzo Hampton with Arkansas Pine Bluff. At 11:15, we'll be joined by Coach Kendrick Wade with Mississippi Valley State. 11:25, we'll be joined by Coach Bubba McDowell with Prairie A&M. 11:35 will be Coach Terrence with Southern University. 11:45 will be Coach Cris Dishman with Texas Southern. At 11:55, P.C. Taylor with Jackson State. We'll pause momentarily. We appreciate your patience. Once again, for all of our media participants on the call, if you do have any questions for our coaches, we ask you please utilize the raise your hand feature to get your question in the queue. If there are questions in the queue, we ask you please limit your questions to one initial question. If there's additional time, feel free to utilize the raise your hand feature to get your hand back in the queue for additional questions to be asked by our coaches. Please ensure that your lines are muted unless you are actively asking a question, and please wait to be acknowledged prior to asking your question. With that being said, happy to be joined by Coach Maynor with Alabama A&M. Good morning, Coach.
Good morning, Andrew. How you doing?
Doing great, Coach. Coach, as always, we appreciate you take some time to join us. Coach, obviously an unexpected bye week for your program. If you could just start us off by just kind of recapping your week.
Yeah. First of all, Eddie Robinson, I see you laughing at my glasses, bro. Just keep on living, okay? Keep on living. Yeah, we had an open week, unexpected. Of course, we was supposed to go down to Tallahassee and play FAMU, and the hurricane. We was worried about the hurricane and the safety of the players. We was gonna fly down Friday morning and had lingering. We knew it was gonna be a lot of lingering high winds and things of that nature. Actually, it turned out to be a pretty nice day. I think there Friday and Saturday, but they still had high winds, and so and decided to move the game to Thanksgiving weekend that Friday after Thanksgiving. So we're gonna still play the game. We just moved it back to a different date, and so we just treated it as an off week and took some days off, got some treatment, got some guys back healthy a little bit. Then classes, wanted to get caught up in the classes. The guys that was a little bit behind in the classes, is a good time to get caught up, get in contact with those professors. Some assignments that you have turned in, get those things turned in, and then at practice we just worked on us, working on A&M, doing the little things, fundamentals, the basics, getting some young guys some reps, and trying to get better.
Appreciate those opening comments, Coach. We'll up for questions for Coach Maynor. Once again, if you do have any questions, please utilize the raise your hand feature to get your question in the queue. Floor is now open for questions. All right, first question goes to Perry Daniels.
Good morning, Coach.
Good morning, Perry. How you doing?
I'm doing well, sir. How are you?
Good.
Coach, Jackson State, on film, can you tell us some of the things that you've seen about this football team?
Oh man, TC has done a super job, man. Number one, they big, they're huge, man. They got a big football team, and they're good. They can play, man. They're playing well. Offensively, they're explosive. They got those little backs. They like to spread you out and try to get those guys in space, and they run and hit those gaps. And next thing you know, they're down the sideline and they throwing it to them out the backfield. And they got some big receivers. All over 6'2", and they play two quarterbacks. I think, I'm not sure if he played them on purpose. I think he wanted to play one guy, and he haven't made it finish the games, and so he had to go back with 15. And he's playing well too. He had a long run last week, and he's throwing the ball well. And they're playing good, man. They're playing good on offense, defense. They're playing well. I think they lead the conference in yards and rush yards allowed. And then they stingy in the secondary too. So TC got a very good football team, man. He got a good football team, and he was unfortunate in a couple games and had some turnovers. One for that, he would have had a great chance to win those games. So he got a very good team. We got to play in the Gulf Coast Challenge down in Mobile Saturday at 4. And I think this is the 7th year of the Gulf Coast Challenge. I think we played in it every year. And so we look forward to it. It's going to be a great challenge. TC's got those guys up and playing well. So we got to be ready to play. We got to be ready to play.
So, Coach, when you play in those type of challenges or classics, it's a long week of ceremonial things. Talk about the effect that may have on your program.
Yeah, you got to try to stay focused, especially this day and age, these young kids. They got that phone up in their face all the time and social media and this and that. And so it's tough, but, both teams in the same situation. So try to leave Friday morning. And so we got to go down Thursday. So that's an extra day in the hotel. And so we got to make sure we keep these guys focused, have something for them to do at all times because and they won't be focused on football and ready to play. So it's a tough job, but everybody has the same job. So we just got to get it done.
Thank you, Coach.
Currently taking questions for Coach Maynor with Alabama A&M. Any final questions for Coach? Coach, as always, we appreciate your time. Look forward to speaking to you again next week.
All right. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you. All right. We will pause momentarily. When we return, we'll be joined by Coach Eddie Robinson with Alabama State. Thank you for your patience. Once again, for our media participants on the call, if you do have any questions for our coaches, please utilize the raise your hand feature to get your question in the queue. With that being said, happy to be joined by Coach Robinson with Alabama State. Good morning, Coach.
Good morning. How's it going?
Doing great, Coach. I'm great. Appreciate you. Coach, if you could please start us out with an opening statement recapping your team's most recent outing at Bethune-Cookman.
Yeah, I had to put my glasses on. You know, Coach Maynor, he can't be the only one with a pair of glasses. So put my readers on so I can see a little bit better this morning. Can't see across the field with them, but I can definitely help me read a little better. So we went down to Bethune-Cookman down in Daytona. Everybody was worried about the hurricane, so definitely want to pray for all the people that was affected by it. And you got off to a pretty good start. You know, Coach Woodie has a good team down there. And third quarter got to lead 26-7, and those guys kept fighting, came back. Very talented quarterback, Cam Ransom, and cut it to 26-7, then 14, then 21, and then we had a ball game at the end. And so tough victory to get out of there with a win. So just happy that we were able to finish the game off. They ended the ball with a possession, and we were able to make a play on fourth down. But definitely a talented team, and I know they'll get it moving in the right direction. And but just was happy to get out of there with a win to finish 1-0 in the conference. This week, we have homecoming on campus, so we know about all the distractions that can face for our kids. And so we're working on that, preaching that, to stay within the moment. We're part of the entertainment, but we know Coach Colzie and fam, you have a talented team, defending SWAC champs, defending HBCU champs, talented quarterback, and Richardson, and then number 2, Gassett. You know, those two guys can put a lot of points on the board. So it's going to be a challenge for our defense, and try to make it a hostile environment, but it'll be a great game. We're looking forward to it.
Appreciate those opening comments, Coach. First question goes to Ty Miller.
Hey, Coach Robinson, good morning to you.
Good morning. Good morning.
Hey, Eddie, what have you noticed the difference between a Coach Colzie coach team versus a Coach Willie Simmons team with Florida A&M thus far?
Well, they're still winning, so that's the similarity. So, but I think they're doing a lot of the same stuff. I mean, defensive line coach is now the defensive coordinator, so that's similar. You see some of the similarities in the play calls. Still have that focus on having that number 1 receiver. Like in the past, it was Xavier, and now it's number 2. He's a talented guy. Get him the ball in a lot of different ways, punt returner. And so that's been a hallmark of those type of teams. And they also have a running game. So when you think they're a pass team, but then they'll rush for 100 yards on you if you're not careful. So you have to really just defend everything. And they're well coached. They're disciplined guys. They're going to play hard. Of course, a lot of different players just for the turnover in the roster, but you can still say they play with the same type of swagger and the same confidence, and they play like champions.
I have a follow-up if time permits, so I'll just wait until I get a chance.
Go ahead, Ty. You're good.
Okay. Florida A&M is not your normal homecoming opponent that a team normally schedules. So how difficult does it make it to have an opponent of this caliber at homecoming, as opposed to most teams normally have someone who might be considered a sure win, so to speak? So this is a little bit different situation.
Yeah, I mean they're a good team, and so if you look on our roster, the teams that we played this year, I don't look at any of those games as this is an easy win. And if you look around college football, there's so many different opponents, unranked opponents, beating other opponents. So it's just college football. I think you have to go out there every day and play hard. If you don't play hard, if you don't play good, play smart, then you're not going to win a football game. But yeah, they're a talented team. I mean, they're a good team. It's going to be a great game, a great matchup. But from the standpoint of your question, it's just the way the calendar falls. You know, it's the we have a spacing between Labor Day Classic, Homecoming, and then Magic City Classic. So it's whoever falls on the calendar that week, and that's who you have to play. So we just go out there and play them, and it'll be very entertaining. It's a good matchup from the proximity standpoint. They're the closest SWAC school to us, so we know they're going to bring a good crowd up here. They're going to bring the band, and so it's just going to be a great HBCU weekend.
All right. Thank you, Coach.
Absolutely.
Next question goes to Doc Holliday.
Coach Robinson, how you doing today?
Doing pretty good. How's it going?
I'm doing good, go back on the game on Saturday. You dominated this game from start to finish. The only aspect as far as with the game, you had 78 yards passing from your QB, but you also had 11 penalties that netted 72 yards. What is the thing that you want to try to clean up from this game to go into the homecoming game against FAMU?
That was one of those funny games where you felt like you were in control of it, but you never were really in control of it. Just because Bethune kept playing so hard, those kids never gave up, and then they fought back into it. Where it was a one possession game and they had the ball, so it never felt like we dominated the game. Felt like we had it under control, but it was still always, you had to play all 60 minutes. The biggest thing is the penalties for us. We can't have 11 penalties. We had one turnover on the kickoff return at the end of the game that helped them to get back in it also. But the penalties are the biggest thing. And I think 5 of those penalties were the offsides and, just stuff that we could control, the easy ones, not the aggressive, honest mistake penalties, but just the ones that are pre-snap. So we haven't been like that the last couple of weeks. So we definitely have to control that. And that's what we're going to work on from day one. Worked on it last night. And we can't have penalties if you want to be the good team.
My second question, you had big contributions from your running backs, especially with Jamari Holsclaw going for 120 yards on 15 carries, which he averaged 8 yards a carry. And in fact, all of your running backs for the day averaged a little bit over 5 yards, 6 yards per carry. Tell us about your running back group and what is the difference between each one of them?
Yeah, I think it all starts up front. We know running the football is a mindset, it's an attitude. And so that's where it starts with the guys up front. So they did a great job. And so it really is done. Center been playing, starting in the conference for the last 4 years. It kind of gets it going up there. But yeah, Holsclaw is kind of can do everything. He's a quick, fast, powerful guy. Gates is probably more of a speedster. Then they get bigger with DeQuan Kinsey and Marcus Harris. So it's a great mix. It's a luxury to have those many guys that can run the football, and they're an unselfish group. I mean, they root for each other, they block for each other, they hang out together. They cheer when another guy scores or has a big run. So it's good to have a group with a bunch of talented guys. But the biggest thing is the chemistry that they have, and the coach, our running back coach, Juwan Lewis, does a great job of mixing those guys in so they all feel a part of it. Because you don't want one guy to not get his touches, so to say. But it's just been a real positive group on the team.
Thank you for your time, Coach.
Appreciate it.
Next question goes to Perry Daniels.
Hey, Coach, I'd like to talk about the other side of the ball. Let's talk about DeMarcus Cunningham and Rico Dozier and their impact on your defense.
Yeah, I mean, those two guys, Cunningham has been playing in the shadows of Bubba Adams the last couple of years. And so I think he's a player of the year candidate. He makes plays all over the field, had 12 tackles, just a great kid. I mean, he's the heart of what we do. He's the guy that, when he speaks, everybody shut up, including me. I let him talk. And he's that type of guy. He's a leader on and off the football field. And just watching him develop from year to year has been great. And now he's putting it all together and just is a really good football player and a good student athlete. And then Rico was a kid that we played against a couple years ago, and just watching him kind of insert himself into the defense was somewhat quiet this summer. And now he's starting to be a vocal leader also. With the two of those guys, we feel really good about him. And the guys in front are playing well. But those two guys, they really set the tone for what we do defensively.
And Coach, since Alabama's of the SWAC defensively, talk about that culture that you created there.
I think to me, and I got it from Coach Markham, if you can't kick, you can't win. So it always starts with a kicking game, and the next thing is defense. You got to play defense. If you play great defense, you'll be in every football game. And I'm a defensive guy. Coach Ryan Lewis, our defensive coordinator, he's a former linebacker at Bethune-Cookman. Our linebacker coach, Billy Gresham, he's an all-conference guy here and the special teams coach. So I think we just got a lot of defensive guys with that type of mentality on the team. And we just want to have an emphasis on playing really good defense. Of course, we know we have to score points, but special teams and defense usually keeps you in the ball game.
Thank you, Coach. Good luck this week.
Appreciate it.
Next question goes to Ty Miller.
Okay. Eddie, in Florida A&M's passing game, Daniel Richardson has been very sound. Doesn't make a lot of mistakes. How do you get him off his game to kind of disrupt what he does with that offense?
Yeah, it'll be a challenge. I mean, he's a guy that has taken a lot of snap so he's quarterback. He's consistent, and that's the thing. As a defense, you're trying to get a quarterback, trying to move him around, make him erratic, but the guy's is cool and under control, and he makes the throws. He knows when to throw it away. He makes the right decision. So that's going to be the challenge for us defensively. So we have to play really sound defense. If we make a mistake, we don't cover a guy, he's going to find that guy. He's going to exploit our mistakes. So we have to play, perfect game on the back end and try to get pressure up front.
Thank you.
Yep, appreciate it.
Any final questions for Coach? Coach, as always, we appreciate your time. Look forward to speaking to you again next week.
All right, thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you. All right, next we go over to Alcorn State. Once again, if you do have a question, please utilize the raise your hand feature to get your question in the queue. Please ensure that your lines are muted unless you're actively asking a question. All right, with that being said, happy to be joined by Coach Thomas with Alcorn State. Good morning, Coach.
Good morning.
Coach, as always, we appreciate you take some time to join us. Coach, if you could start us out with an opening statement recapping your team's most recent outing versus Mississippi Valley State.
Yes, sir. Went down to the Delta, back around my neck of the woods. I was born and raised, but also just got opportunity to come back and see some of the new things that Valley had going on with the turf and the jumbotron and a really good atmosphere. And got off to a good start. Ran the football. Officially had some big runs. Corey and Sewell, starters off early, had a big run of about 55 yards and kind of got things rolling. And defensively came out and made some stops, got some turnovers, but also, the kicking game was much improved to my alignment, and was excited about that. And so made a few stops early, got the ball to the offense, sputtered a little bit offensively, still got to get consistent or more consistent throwing it around, but the run game was awesome. O-line did a really good job up front, and kicking game, got some field goals, a couple extra points, and just thought overall, that second half came out, kept the pedal to the metal, scored, some points, and was, overall was excited about the atmosphere and also just how the guys used that week to get better. And so overall, I thought we played one of our better games just from the kicking game and overall offense and defense. And so was excited about it. The guys deserved the win. They worked their tails off, and it was just good to see them, earn the fruits of their labor.
Appreciate those opening comments, Coach. First question goes to Stephen Robinson. First question goes.
Good morning, Coach.
Morning.
All right. You had touched on this during your opening statement about coming back home. Could you just elaborate on what's that like to have so many of your family and friends at the game? And then not only do you win the game, but you also win your first SWAC game as a head coach at Alcorn State. Just talk a little about maybe just the emotional level that you had maybe before and after the game, knowing that you had so many family and friends at the game. If you don't mind, about how many do you think you had at the game from maybe your neighborhood and out of your tribe?
Oh, it's probably about 3,000. Everybody know me and Kendrick, like Ken folks. And my mom, she had a bunch of them. I had the whole neighborhood, and they Valley alums also. And so I knew it was going to be a good outing, but I had anywhere from 2,500 to 3,000 people from my community in the Delta. And by me coaching at Mississippi Delta for all those years, I just had a following, not just from Cleveland, but, everything on 61 and 82 came out and supported. And it was just good to see the turf. It was good to see the jumbotron. It was good to see kids from the Delta to be able to come and see, really good stuff. And so that was, it just made me feel a certain kind of way, kind of choked me up early. My dad sitting me in the bleachers watching, Willie Totten and Jerry Rice run around, back in the day. And so that part was, it was really touching and heartwarming to see the embrace of family and wants to come out in fellowship, but also as a little kid being from that area, being in that same stadium to see all the new anemones, really was touching. And, it was good, really good experience.
All right. Thank you, Coach.
Yes, sir.
Next question goes to Tanner Spearman.
Good morning, Coach. Tanner Spearman with the Pine Bluff Commercial. Obviously, Coach, we've seen so far this season your quarterback Xavier Vaughn been one of the best rushers in the SWAC so far. But Jacorian's really come on the past couple of weeks, especially against Valley with 164 yards. Having him step up and contribute to the run game alongside Xavier, how much more dangerous do you think that makes your offense?
Yeah, I think it takes it to a different level. You know, and he had some runs earlier this year, but we just wasn't able to run it consistently just because of the score. When you get down 21 against McNeese, it's just hard to continue to run the football. And so the things was kind of in reach, you know, the whole time. And so we know Sewell is a dynamic running back. He can take it the distance, and we just got a chance to see it in totality. So it makes this offense that much explosive to take the pressure off Vaughn.
And on a similar note to what you were just talking about, as far as going back home to Valley, now you've got UAPB coming to Alcorn, a place that you're very familiar with. What will it mean to you to have this game against the Golden Lions?
It'll mean, you know, it'll mean everything because it's the next conference game. You know, so that's everything to us right now. Only because we got opportunity to be 1-0, you know, after Saturday, and so you know, it means everything. Not just, you know, who the school is or the institution for that matter. It's just, you know, it's the next one, and it's the most important one.
All right, thank you, Coach.
Next question goes to Doc Holliday.
Good morning, Coach. How you doing today?
Oh, I'm blessed. How about yourself, Doc?
I'm doing good, doing good. Go back to your team stats. You rushed for a team total of 294 yards, averaging 7.4 yards a carry. You give thanks to the running backs, but what about your offensive line for this game right here? And how do you feel about them?
They're big time. They've been the most consistent group. You know, when you look at our numbers over the year, they've been the most consistent group all year. And so, you know, I think, you know, our ace in the hole is old Coach Watson, man. He's a MEAC guy, and I think he's bringing that MEAC mentality inside this league. You know, you look at our guys up front, they're doing a really good job. We've been able to run the ball against some of the best of them. We just got to be able to keep the game in reach so where we can continue to do that. And so the O-line, man, you know they dear to my heart, you know, just because of what they go to and not getting a whole lot of credit. And so we do a lot of things behind the scenes to show them guys how appreciative we are of them. But, man, they're playing their tails off. Got a true freshman at the left guard that's playing really well. You know, run the football and be sound. And, you know, in the kicking game, we'll have a chance.
And to touch back on your homecoming back to the Delta, like just give me your rate back home in facing Valley.
And it was a 10, Doc. You know, it was a 10, man. My mom, you know, got a chance to come to the game. Don't get a chance to see her much. You know, all the family and friends for both sides, man. Alcorn, the nation came out. First game that we really had on the road with the band, and so it was really festive, man. It was a 10 plus. I got some SWAC guys on the staff, and they was just on the headset like, man, you know, look at the pageantry, just look at the atmosphere. You know, this is unbelievable. And so it was a 10 out of 10 for me, Doc.
I appreciate you, Coach. Good luck on your win this weekend.
Appreciate it.
This question goes to Perry Daniels.
Coach, first I want to thank you for a lot of folks don't comment on the pageantry in Itta Bena, Mississippi. So that was awesome. But let's talk about Arkansas Pine Bluff and what you've seen on.
You know, he's put you in the mind of Kincaid. Got different arm angles, you know, really, really dangerous, and we got to keep them intact. You know, offensive line is much improved. You know, defensively, they run around doing some odd things, you know, from a blitzing standpoint, and also some over and under, you know, and then kicking game, you know, it's sound. Really good football team. You know, Coach second year is doing a really good job, and you can tell it. You know, you can tell it. Scoring a lot of points, and so you know, we got to be on our A game. You know, we can't get caught up in the festivity that's going around here. We got a really good ball club that's coming in here that's going to be chomping at the bits, and you can see it on tape.
Thank you, Coach. Good luck.
Appreciate it.
Next question goes to Kendrick Marshall.
Yeah, Coach. Last week you mentioned how you wanted some of the young guys to kind of step up and be a little bit more accountable, and you wanted some of your veteran players to play like the veteran players that they are. How was preparation going into this game this week related to that, and how did it play out in the game on Saturday?
Yeah, it did. You watch Malachi Bailey dominate. You know, he got a script sack, safety. I think he had maybe 2 sacks on the game. That's our leader. That's who makes us go. Ed Summerall, a preseason all-conference kid, get 3 interceptions. He's one of the guys on the back end that's played a lot of football for us, 3-year starter. Truck Griffin, you see him run the football. You see him catch the football on the perimeter and block. He's our leader on offense. And so those 2 guys kind of laid the foundation early, and Coach Gales and even the defensive coordinator, Coach Roberson, did some really good things to get them guys ignited. But also internally, them guys just kind of went back to just having fun. Them guys been kind of pressured, self-pressuring themselves on trying to make, the Legacy Bowl in one game or one snap instead of just letting things come to them and going back to them Pop Warner days of just having fun. And so I thought they did that. But when they go, we go. We're a really good football team when those guys are playing really well. And from, some of the younger guys, Gideon Spotsville, sophomore, he had a really good game for us up front. And Damian, he had some plays for us. So we continue to grow some of these younger guys up, but it starts with the old heads in the room. It's just got to be consistent and put us on their back.
Any final questions for Coach? Coach, as always, we appreciate your time. Look forward to speaking to you again next week.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. All right, next we go over to Bethune-Cookman. Once again, if you do have any questions for our coaches, please utilize the raise your hand feature to get your question in the queue. With that being said, happy to be joined by Coach Woodie with Bethune-Cookman. Good morning, Coach.
Good morning.
Coach, as always, we appreciate your time. With you taking some time to join us, if you could please start us out with an opening statement, recapping your team's most recent outing versus Alabama State.
Had a good atmosphere down. Congratulations, obviously, to Coach Eddie Robinson's guys was ready to play. We thought that we started out on defense, had obviously a 2-yard game, but missed tackles resulted in an explosive play on our defense. We put them in plus territory, and we were able to hold them to a field goal. We forced 5 field goals on the day, but we didn't capitalize on opportunities, obviously to make tackles. We had guys in the right spots, but we didn't finish the play, and we definitely have to get better on that. On offense, we were 7 out of 10 drives, 10 plus drives, scored touchdowns on 3 of them, and then the field goal range for another 3. And then in the moment thought it was best to go for it based on, the weather and down and distance. And then we had holding penalties and drop snaps that obviously hurt us. With all that being said, scored before the half and in the back-to-back drives in the second half. And then we had the ball down 5 with 2 minutes left and no timeouts to win the game, and we didn't finish, which was disappointing. But that's why you keep coaching and keep getting better.
Appreciate those opening comments, Coach. Once again, if you do have any questions for our coaches, please utilize raise your hand feature. Get your question in the queue. Floor is now open for questions for Coach Woodie with Bethune-Cookman. So, Coach, we do have a question. First question goes to Doc Holliday.
Coach Woodie, how you doing today?
Good. How you doing, Doc?
I'm doing good. Tell me about the game as far as rushing the ball, where you only got 3.1 yards per carry, and your time of possession, where you only had like 25 minutes of time for the game.
And the defense, like I said, Coach Robinson had those guys ready to play. I mean, it was unfortunate that we couldn't get that part, going. We had some miscues, as far as hold. We can't play behind the sticks, because those guys, their defense is really solid and fly around the ball, and we just have to make sure we make our opportunities. When we get in those moments, we have to seize it, and we got to stay on blocks. It all comes back to technique and fundamentals. But like I said, those guys did a good job, with what they put out as far as the game plan, and we just have to execute better.
My second question is, even though you came off of a loss where it was, I think this was one of the best games in the SWAC by far against Clark Atlanta. Do you think it was somewhat of a letdown as far as going into this game with your guys?
As far as, well,
like
man,
kind of like the morale or so, because of the simple fact they had lost to Clark, but
oh no,
okay.
no, those guys, you know, like I say, we was in position to win the game and we didn't finish it. And I mean, obviously those guys fought, you know, to the very end, and we just have to, you know, make sure that when we get in those situations, you know, we execute. You know, we have to execute. You know, playing against a team like Alabama State, you know, you have to be able to minimize and maximize your time wisely. We have to get better at that. And we put guys in positions during practice in those similar situations, but we just, you know, we have to do it more, and we got to find a way to finish. It's all about finishing.
All right. Thank you for your time, Coach.
Thank you.
Question goes to Perry Daniels.
Yeah, Coach, I was curious about that as well, the morale of your team after the Clark Atlanta game. But now that you've answered that, let's talk about you were able to limit your penalties to only 6 this game. Talk about how you emphasize that throughout the week.
Well, you know, like I said, we handle that as far as, you know, the guys, you know, who committed the penalties. I mean, you know, obviously it's consequences to that. And we realize that technique fundamentals, you know, we have to keep working it. And some of those penalties that, you know, you just can't have unsportsmanlike. So those guys, you know, they had consequences throughout the week, and we just kept pondering, kept putting those guys in positions to say, hey, you know, you can't let your teammate down. You have to do your job. And with that being said, your technique fundamentals have to be, you know, at the highest, and we can't make foolish penalties. So, you know, we emphasize that, you know, ever since it happened, and that's why it de-escalated.
And earlier in the about how you felt about your team going into SWAC play. So I'm going to ask that question again now that you've had a SWAC game. How do you feel about your team and where they can end up in SWAC play?
That's going to get back healthy and be with us going into, you know, Alabama A&M game. So it's our off week, and we see what we need to work on, you know, and obviously, you know, we want to go in 1-0, but it didn't fall the way we wanted it to fall. But we saw some promise. We saw guys, you know, fighting. And like I said, at the end of the day, with the, you know, evaluation that I gave earlier, we still was in position to win that ball game.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
Currently taking questions for Coach Woodie with Bethune-Cookman. Final questions for Coach. Coach, as always, we appreciate your time. Look forward to speaking to you again next week.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we will pause momentarily. In return, we'll be joined by Coach James Colzie with Florida A&M. Thanks for your patience. All right, we're going to work to get connected with Coach Colzie here. Might be a minute or two behind schedule as they work to logged in. All right, once again, for our media participants, if you do have any questions, please utilize the raise your hand feature to get your question in the queue. And please ensure that your lines are muted unless you are actively asking a question. With that being said, happy to be joined by Coach Colzie with Florida A&M. Good morning, Coach.
Hey, good morning. How you doing?
Doing great, Coach. Coach, obviously unexpected bye week for your program with the storm out there in the area. If you could just start us out just kind of recapping this past week for your program.
Well, first and foremost, just like to thank everyone for the thoughts and their prayers, and just for having to go through, Hurricane Helen. I think for us, we're practicing, Sunday and Tuesday, and obviously everything, leaning towards us playing, opening up, having our SWAC opener at home at Brack Stadium, but ultimately just safety reasons of not just our players, but for the university, everybody affiliated with the university, the city of Tallahassee. We just thought it was going to be a great idea to not play and get people to safety. So ultimately, we're gonna err on that first, and now obviously getting a chance to watch people play, and then getting us a chance to get ready for Alabama State, a really really good football team. Hopefully we get a chance to get to Montgomery and have our first SWAC football game.
Appreciate those opening comments, Coach. First question goes to Terry Daniels.
Morning, Coach.
Good morning. How you doing, boss?
I'm doing well, sir. Hey, has the assessment of the facilities been completed? Was there any damage? And where is the health mentally for your players? Were any of them affected by the storm?
Well, great questions. Minus the damage that we had before the storm, everything else is just fine. I think for our guys, getting a chance to, obviously not playing, you lost that a little bit, but we had a 7:30 meeting yesterday, 100% attendance, and then we had our practice this morning. So just trying to get our guys right back into their routine. Normally we practice on Sunday nights, and then we give them Monday off. But had our meeting last night, had a really really good practice this morning. Obviously getting that extra week, we got a chance to get some of our guys even more healthy. So, they're geared up, ready to go. Obviously opening up for us, having our SWAC open against a very, very good football team. Coach Robinson does a great job getting those guys ready to go. And so, we're just anxious and ready to play, hopefully ready to play on Saturday.
Thank you, Coach. Good luck.
Thank you very much.
Next question goes to Doc Holliday.
Coach Colzie, how you doing this morning?
I'm doing well, Doc. What's going on?
I'm doing good. So your team hasn't played a home game since the end of August, and now you're back on the road again, going to Alabama State, and not because you want to, but because of the circumstance of with the weather. But what are you telling your guys the mindset as far as being back on the road again and going to play Alabama State for their homecoming?
Well, it's part of our schedule, right? I tried to get with Coach Robinson last. Coach Robinson, one of the coaches that reached out to me. I was going to ask him if he was going to let us move the game. I didn't think he would, but hey, it's part of our schedule. Those are some things that it is what it is. We can't major in that. We knew this upcoming Saturday we were going to have to travel to Montgomery and play a good football team. So, we got to go with what the schedule is, and I'm open. If Coach Robinson wants to bring it to Bragg, I'm open to moving that, but I don't think he's going to want to do that.
My second question is, after this weekend, you're going to be slated to play 7 games without a bye week. What's the mentality of the team? Let them know what about that situation.
Well,
also.
we play this week, right? And then we have another bye week, right? And then we play Jackson State the weekend after that. But we're gonna just worry about week to week. I think that's the best thing for us to do. It's the only thing that we know how to do. But as opposed to the other 7 weeks, we got to make sure we take care of this one, and then go from there. But obviously getting those, we got an extra week to get healthy. That's important for us this week. But we can only go with what the schedule goes, and obviously, you're not upset. You're just disappointed that you didn't get a chance to play, but wherever the schedule tells us we got to be, we'll be ready to go.
Thank you, Coach.
No problem. Great questions.
Next question goes to Kendrick Marshall.
Yeah, Coach. Your team hasn't played a game since September 21st, and I'm curious to know from your perspective, how concerned are you, if at all, about your guys' sharpness coming out to play a football game after such a long layoff?
A little bit, right? That's a great question as well. I mean, we tried to hone on those details after we played Troy. And then obviously, having those 2 days where we were able to practice, but then having another 3 where you didn't, and then playing a football game. So, but I say this, today I thought we looked really, really good. We moved around really, really well. A couple of guys that were banged up, they're full tilt, ready to go. So, I thought we ran around the field very, very well this morning. But obviously there is a little bit of a concern, but we treated it as a bye week as well, right? That's what it became. Therefore, working on treatment, obviously working on our safety as well. But we'll use a lot of these these next couple of days to get ready and fine tune what we're going to be doing once we play Alabama State. But that is true. Have not playing, but ultimately we can't use that as an excuse, because the team we're going to play on Saturday, they'll be ready to go. So it's important that we're ready to go as well.
As a quick follow-up, Coach, are you hoping that this time off in a positive way can help your guys establish more of a continuity, more of a rhythm leading up to the game?
Well, it has. I will say this. The first 2 days that we did have, and obviously yesterday, obviously today, that's been our main point, right? Making sure we have our best 11 on the field, regardless of the situation, right? And again, we've been minus a few guys, and now having those guys in like we did, we had them in last week, hoping to use them last weekend, but with the extra couple days, and now obviously these few days that we have, we're able to use those guys. We're able to put them in a situation where we can develop that rhythm. It's important for our quarterbacks. It's important for our linebackers, with some of the D linemen that'll get a chance to play a heck of a lot more. So, you're correct in regards to the rhythm, but they got to get some game reps as well. And once we get those game reps, what's ultimately what happens Saturday, it'll continue to help us. But getting those game reps will be important for us as well.
I appreciate it, Coach.
No problem.
This question goes to Ty Miller.
Hey, Coach. Good morning to you. How you doing?
Hey, Ty. How you doing, boss?
I'm good, Coach. Besides being fundamentally sound, who are some of the skill set players on offense that concern you when it comes to Alabama State?
Well, they got those 3 running backs, right? I mean, they're all guys that do different things, and you look at their stat sheet. They got 300 yards rushing. You got guys that are doing certain things at certain times, and and they're okay. They're okay with punting. And they're really, really good on defense, and so they're gonna play sound football. They're gonna play fundamental football. They're gonna play tough football. And they're gonna run the ball, and you make tackles and force them to punt. It's okay. They know they got a great defense, and they're gonna get the ball right back and run the ball again, right? So you see them doing a lot of this is a different team, I would say, than what they had last year. But the mindset of being sound and running the football and shortening the game and things of that nature, they're doing a really, really good job from what we've seen over the teams they played. But he's going to run the football, and they want to stop the run on defense, and that's really, really impressive to see that they've done for the most part this season.
And he mentioned that Coach Robinson mentioned he's not particularly happy about the penalties. So how do you turn their detriment into an asset for you?
Well, we can't use their penalties for our advantage, right? I mean, I'm pretty sure any head coach that's on this call, right? Some of those penalties are you have to make sure you take care of internally. I think those, at times some of those penalties can hurt drives or hamper drives, but you're going to continue to strive on the discipline. There's nothing that we're going to do to help them with penalties. It's just, hey, I know I would, if I don't want to speak for Coach Robinson, for myself, our penalties, right, are things that we must take care of internally, right? It's not something we're going to try to draw, unsportsmanlike or things of that nature, right? So, I think that if I'm him and speaking for myself, right, I think that we want to make sure we take care of that internally for ourselves, because we've had a couple of times where we've had some undisciplined penalties, right? So, hey, if it's the blocking the backs or the holding calls, things of that nature, the only thing we can help with that is by playing faster and playing harder. But anything for penalties, especially for us, it's just something internally that I think we need to be better with.
Thank you, Coach.
Coach Colzie, as always, we appreciate your time. Look forward to speak to you again next week.
Hey, thanks, guys, and good luck to everybody this week.
Thank you. All right, next up, we will go over to Coach Mickey Joseph with Grambling State. Once again, if you do have questions for our coaches, please utilize the raise your hand feature to get your question in the queue. With that being said, happy to be joined by Coach Joseph with Grambling State. Good morning, Coach.
Good morning. How you doing?
You're great, Coach. Coach, as always, we appreciate you taking some time out of your schedule to join us. If you could please start us out with an opening statement recapping your team's most recent outing versus Prairie A&M.
Well, we fell short. We fell short. I was just telling my guys earlier, these five overtime games. I had to get them ready. I take full responsibility that we couldn't finish, and we apologize to our fans, because we had a great showing. Our Grand Fam people came out, supported us, and we apologize that we couldn't get it done. I'm not having very good luck with overtimes. 5 overtimes we had, and I was at LSU, we had 7, and we lost 72-74. So we got to do a better job of getting them ready. We got to keep them engaged in the game, no matter how long the game is. But that's on me. That's not on anybody else. I got to do a better job with it.
Appreciate those opening comments, Coach. First question goes to Doc Holliday.
Good morning, Coach Joseph. How you doing today?
Good morning, Doc. How you doing?
I'm doing good. Your first State Fair Classic, rated from 1 to 10 from the week you've been here in Dallas.
Well, I think it was a great outing, except we couldn't get it done, but it's a big time classic. It's a big time classic, and I played in it when I was assistant coach here, so I had the opportunity to play in all 3. I played in the Magic City one, with Alabama State and the A&M, and I also played in one with Jackson State and Alcorn when I was at Alcorn, and I got to play in the Bayou Classic. So I don't play in all 3 of them, and this is a big time classic. And I think you can. I want to rate it a 10, but I better rate it an 8 because we lost the game. But it was a great experience for me, and a great experience for my family and our players and our university.
So my second question is the 5 overtimes. Where was the deciding factor, instead of just trying to score touchdowns, y'all just wanted to go for the 2-point conversions just to make sure whoever wins the game? Where did that come into play?
Well, they changed the rules, and the first 2, I guess you play regular, from the 25, and then after that it's just 2-point conversions, because I think they changed the rules after when I was at LSU, we went 7 overtimes.
Right.
So I think they changed the rules after that. So it's just 2-point conversions after that. And we prepare for that, because we prepare for overtime every week. And we also do a winning edge period that we go about 2-point plays every week. So we was prepared. We just fell short. You take your hats off to PV. You can't take anything away from Coach Bubba and his staff and his players. They were well coached. They played. They made one more play than we made. But every game's going to be like this in the SWAC, and especially in the Wild Wild West. Every game's going to be like this. So, I take my hat off to him. Hey, he did a great job. He had his team ready, and I got to come back, and I got to snap these kids back and get them ready.
All right. Appreciate you, Coach.
Appreciate you.
Next question goes to Perry Daniels.
Hey, Coach.
Hey, Perry. How you doing?
Super fantastic. Thank you very much for a very entertaining football game. I know it didn't turn out the way that you desired, but it was very entertaining, and we appreciate that. Coach, talk about Miles Crowley and his play.
Well, I thought Miles, I thought he saw it a little better this week. and I think we have him right now. We're having a protection problem, with Miles, and we want him to get him set his feet. Sometimes he gets happy feet, so was really focusing on him this week. Hey, just dance in the pocket, and when it's time to throw the jab, set your feet. So we're going to keep working with it, but Miles is a warrior. Miles is banged up a little bit, so this is a good time for us to have an off week and not let him throw, let him do too much, to let him get his body back. But we got to keep him clean. And I say that we got to keep him clean with the play calls. We got to do more quick game. We got to do more play action with him. We got to do more 7-man protection. We got to do more to keep him upright, and as coaches, that's your job. And I got to do a better job as a head coach to making sure that gets done.
Once the game went to 2-point conversions only, you all ran each 2-point conversion. Talk about the decision to not, we were kind of expecting a play action pass at some point.
Well, we hit him with a pop pass, but we take pride in our offensive line and running and going forward. And, when we thought we had advantage, was one block away on the one Miles ran, it's one block away. But we thought we could move him. We thought we could move him and knock it in there. And it didn't happen. That's why I say you take your head off the PV, because they stood strong. They stood strong. But, we're not going to second guess the call. We made the call and we got to live with it.
Thank you, Coach. Again, great game.
Thank you.
Next question goes to Kendrick Marshall.
Yeah, Coach, you mentioned some struggles that your passing game has had recently, particularly on the last couple outings, and some diagnoses you have for that. Would the game plan be conversely to maybe lean a little bit more on a rushing attack to try to alleviate some of those issues with the offensive line and some of the play calling?
Well, yeah, we're going to go back to the drawing board. It's a good week to have off, to see what we need to polish up in the run game and the RPO game, and also with the protection. Maybe we got to get away from 5-man protection and go 6-7-man protection just to give him time, back there. But we got to reshuffle some things around, with the play calling and that sort. But we'll get it fixed. We'll definitely get it fixed. This is a good week to get it fixed. Everybody had to look in the mirror. We had Tell the Truth Monday today, so everybody got the truth told to him. Miles came in and he told me how he felt, and I respect that. I respect that. So, everybody's in here today, everybody's working and everybody's trying to fix things, and we got to get it fixed. We still have our opportunity, but it's just like I told the kids, it's just more pressure, and pressure is a privilege, because when you got pressure on you, that means something good's about to happen. So we're going to accept this pressure. We're going to fix what we need to fix, and we got to get this thing back on the road.
As a quick follow-up to that, Coach, do you think you guys know what your identity on offense is at this point in the season?
Excuse me. Well, we like to throw it. We know our identity. I mean, a lot of people don't know our identity, but we know our identity. Our identity is to throw it, to run it. We throw it first, and then we try to run it. So we might have to flip that and say, okay, this is what we need to do. This was the best for the team. So we'll do some self-scout this week, and we'll do everything, and we'll see where we're at, and then we'll get up with the game plan next week. We won't game plan this week. We'll wait till next week to game plan, but this week's going to be take care of ourselves, get healthy, and see what we need to do, and then get it done.
I appreciate it, Coach.
Appreciate you.
Currently taking questions for Coach Joseph with Grambling State. Final questions for Coach. Coach, as always, we appreciate your time. Look forward to speaking again.
Y'all.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate y'all.
All right, we are a minute or two ahead of schedule for Coach Hampton with Arkansas Pine Bluff. We'll pause momentarily. Thank you for your patience. Once again, for our media participants on the call, if you do have any questions, please utilize the raise your hand feature to get your question in the queue, and please ensure that your line is muted unless you are actively asking a question. And also, please, if there are questions that are in the queue, if you could please limit your first question, just one question. If we got time, feel free to re-raise your hand. We'll try to get additional questions answered. With that being said, happy to be joined by Coach Hampton with Arkansas Pine Bluff. Good morning, Coach.
Morning.
Coach, thanks so much for taking some time to join us. Obviously, bye week for your program this past week. So if you could just start us out with an opening statement, just kind of assessing this past week for your program.
Obviously for us, weekend to kind of get some players kind of heal back up and go out there and continue to work on the things that we need to work on. Practice Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Kids had Friday off and came back yesterday, had a good practice. So ready to go, ready to start SWAC play. And just like every coach on here, you want to go 1-0 this week.
Appreciate those opening comments, Coach. First question goes to Tanner Spearman.
Good morning, Coach. Getting ready to take on Alcorn, a team that, like some other teams you've played, likes to run the ball. They've got a quarterback who's second in the SWAC in rushing. They've got a running back in 28 who's really come on the past 2 weeks. When you look at those two guys and that offensive line on film, what stands out to you and what does your defense need to be ready for?
Yeah, obviously, got a big old line, a quarterback, running quarterback. They got good running backs, had good running backs last year. This young guy continue to do the same thing. So obviously, as a defense, you got to stop the run. And, we put a lot of emphasis on that in the past week. Just like I said, when you play young guys, you tend to make a lot of mistakes because you try to do a little more than you're supposed to do. And so we've shored up a couple things and just excited to get back out there with our team and to battle a great team like Alcorn.
Hey, Coach, just real quick, health-wise, I know you had some guys out for UCA like Jonas and OJ and some others. Where are you guys at in that category, and how many guys you expected back this week?
Oh, yeah, obviously, some of those guys will probably get 3 or 4 of them back this week, but, they still got appointments, but they were all at practice yesterday. We're not going to put them in the game unless they're 100% healthy, but, our motto is the next guy mentality, next guy up. And so, I'm not worried about the running back position. We got running backs. Whoever's there, be there. The ones that's not, they got to cheer from home, right? So we're just excited about the opportunity to go down there and play this game against a good opponent.
All right, thank you, Coach.
Next question goes to Doc Holliday.
Coach Hampton, how you doing today?
How you doing, Doc?
I'm doing good. Like I said, speaking on the bye week, what are some things that you see with Alcorn as far as defensive wise and the challenge for your offensive lineman with the defense?
Well, obviously, they do a lot of moving around. They're very active on the defensive front. The guys in the secondary, they're physical players. Our O-line, they've had a good, we played 3 really good opponents. So, this will be another good one. So our young men are ready for the challenge. Obviously, Makai's playing at a high level. We got some really talented receivers. They got talented DBs. So it's going to be a dogfight. We just got to stay in there. It's their homecoming. And, our kids know what it is. We got to be ready to battle for 60 minutes. Don't get too high, don't get too low. If something goes bad early in the game, knowing that they got the home crowd, they'll be fired up, ready to go. So as I told our kids, man, this is what you want. You want to be somebody homecoming opponent. And so let's go down there and play one play at a time, and let's see where we're at the end of the game.
Appreciate your time, Coach.
Mm-hmm.
Next question goes to Perry Daniels.
Coach, the reservation has been a traditionally tough place to play for Western Division opponents. Have you talked to your team about that upcoming environment?
No, I haven't. It's a football game, right? They can only put 11 people on the field. So no, we give them credit. I enjoy it because this is what I did say to our team. Their fans is what it's all about in the SWAC. They're going to be loud. They're going to be rowdy. But that's what you want, right? You don't want to go into a stadium, you're only playing in front of 3,000 people. It's going to be pretty much sold out. And so I'm excited about it. Our players are excited about it. When I coached here before, we played down there. It was fun then. So I'm looking forward to going back to play with them, and our players are as well. Obviously, I think Coach said probably recruit a couple of these guys here on the team. So it'll be good for them to go and show, hey, Coach believed in me, so go show Coach what you can do.
Thank you, Coach. Good luck.
Appreciate it.
All right. Currently taking questions for Coach Hampton with Arkansas Pine Bluff. Final questions for Coach. All right, we got a question from Tanner Spearman.
Here, I'll chime in with another one, Coach. You obviously got Alcorn this week, and then you've got Prairie and Grambling coming up to start your conference slate. Three of the teams that are projected to be among the best in the division. So a tough way to start the SWAC play for you guys. How are you preparing your team for this tough schedule you got upcoming?
Well, Coach, you missed Mississippi Valley. I mean, they pretty doggone good too. But anyway, they're on the other side, but they're a pretty good football team. Coach, at the end of the day, it's just one game at a time. We're not worried about the next opponent. We just worry about going 1-0, winning the day. And as long as we continue to have that mindset, especially when you got a young football team. And when I say a young football team, we're just now getting our offense, starting to put it together. Our defense, we got a lot of young guys that's played 4 games. Now we got to be able to put it together because now every play matters. And so that's what we're excited about for our football team, just continue to go out there and grow. And that's the most important part as we just sit back and watch last week, as it was a bye week, but it was still a work week for us. We made a lot of mistakes, but we still left a lot of meat on the bone on the offensive side, defensive side, special teams. So we're looking forward to be able to put this thing together this week and try to get to 1-0 in the SWAC.
All right, thank you, Coach.
Any final questions for Coach? All right, as always, Coach Hampton, we appreciate your time. Look forward to speaking to you again next week.
I appreciate it.
Thank you. All right, I do see we have Coach Wade. Coach Wade, we're a couple minutes ahead of schedule. Just want to make sure if there's anybody logging on to speak with you, we give them an opportunity. So we'll pause momentarily. When we come back, we'll be joined by Coach Wade with Mississippi Valley State. Thanks for your patience. Once again, for our media participants, if you do have a question for our coaches, please utilize raise your hand feature to get your question in the queue. And please ensure that your lines are muted unless you are actively asking a question. With that being said, happy to be joined by Coach Wade with Mississippi Valley State. Good morning, Coach.
Hey, good morning.
Coach, as always, we appreciate you taking some time to join us. Coach, if you could please start us out with an opening statement, recapping your team's most recent outing versus Alcorn State.
Yeah, man, we came up short once again. Alcorn came in, played a good game. They played for 4 quarters, and we've yet to been able to put 4 quarters together. We started slow. We had 5 turnovers, and we just continuously put ourselves behind the 8 ball. And we got a bye week coming up. We're looking forward to that, just getting back to basic fundamentals, catching the ball, protecting the ball, tackling, blocking. So we're looking forward to this week. This bye week coming up.
Appreciate those opening comments, Coach. Now we'll open up for questions. First question goes to Stephen Robinson.
Good morning to you, Coach.
Stephen, my man, good morning.
Yeah. This juncture of your season, you had mentioned this being a bye week for you. In terms of how you're approaching it, is it more about perhaps rebooting, or is it more about reevaluating? But how are you planning on using this bye week in terms of moving forward?
Yeah, rebooting, reevaluating, reassessment, just kind of everything. Just going back to the fundamentals. It's very similar to what Coach Mickey said. So we're not focusing, we're not game planning this week. It's all about getting back to who we are and just self-scouting. That's the biggest thing. Self-scouting is something big that we have going this week. So this week is all about Mississippi Valley. It's not about an opponent. It's all about us. And you know, we're looking forward to this. You know, we was on the road those first 4 weeks. Had our first home game against a really good Alcorn team. So now just kind of getting an opportunity to kind of breathe, reset, and you know, get our mind right. We're looking forward to this week.
All right, thank you, Coach.
Yes, sir.
Next question goes to Doc Holliday.
Coach Wade, how you doing today?
Hey, good morning, Doc.
Good. You had the ball for over 32 minutes, but you also had 5 turnovers. What are you trying to tell the team, especially your quarterbacks, to try to make sure you protect the ball?
Well, you know, that starts with coaching, you know. So in our staff meeting yesterday, it was a tough one. It wasn't for the weak, wasn't for the faint. You know, we got to look at ourselves and say, how can we help these kids? So again, we turning the ball over too much. So we got to simplify some things. There are a lot of things we take in games. We got to take it out. You know, what is simple and easy for us as coaches, I mean, obviously it isn't working for those kids. So, you know, we have to help them out by simplifying it. So I think this week we'll start to cut back with the game plan, and we'll find out what our quarterbacks love. Not like they have to love it. You know, if they don't love it, then we're taking it out. So it's all about coaches. You know, it's our job to make sure that we put our players in the best position to be successful. And up to this point, and all of it starts with me. Every single thing that happens with this program starts and ends with me. So, you know, like I said, we're going to get that corrected.
And to follow up question, as far as with all the bells and whistles, the new turf and like the scoreboard and stuff like that, tell us about the home experience for the first home game at Valley.
Man, I'm proud of our fans. They showed up and they showed out. They was loud, they were rowdy, and you know, Valley Nation definitely showed up and showed out. But for me, those things are for everybody else. You know, we're here to win football games, so you know it's good. We appreciate it. You know, but the bottom line is going out there and winning games, and we came up short of that. So it's hard for me personally to appreciate everything that comes with it. You know, for me, it's all about winning football games, and you know, they're just the bottom line. But again, Valley Nation showed up and showed out, and you know, they deserved a better showing than what we put out there, and we'll be better moving forward. So Valley Nation, if you're looking or listening to this, I guarantee you we're going to be better moving forward. We're closer than what it appears, and we just got to clean some things up. Just some small, minute things we got to get cleaned up, and we're looking forward to using this week to do so.
Thank you for your time, Coach.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Next question goes to Kendrick Marshall.
Yeah, Coach. You mentioned last week you had made some changes on the coaching staff to help, I guess, with some of the issues you spoke about earlier. How did that kind of impact the game on Saturday, and how are you hoping, like, the continued reevaluation of your program kind of moves you guys forward?
Yeah, we made some moves and made another move. You know, just with the staff this past week. Not a coach, but just, you know, everybody's held accountable. Everybody's going to be held to this standard, and everyone must show up each and every day and do things the proper way. But we didn't have any negative effects. As a matter of fact, you know, our special teams was cleaner. The previous couple of weeks, you know, I spent time out on just getting kids on the field for special teams, and you know, that's not a good look. So again, it was much better this week, and you know, we're in the process of bringing a new coach in, kind of going through the paperwork and going through the things we need to do with that. But like I said, we're in a much better place after that decision, and I think we're gonna get somebody in that's gonna come in and it's gonna help take us to the next level for sure.
Okay, is that just with special teams or other positions?
Yes, linebacker, special teams.
All right. And as a quick follow-up to that, Coach, this is year 2 for you. How kind of more hands-on are you being in making decisions like the ones you made with like reevaluating the program and kind of like making changes on the coaching staff? Like how more involved are you going to be with that?
Well, as you can see, I mean, I didn't make these moves last year, so very hands-on. Just going through this thing for a year, sitting in this seat for a year. You're rather be a little bit too early than a little bit too late. Last year I was a little bit too late with some of these decisions. So this year it's definitely been something where my antennas are always perked up and I'm looking for anything that's non-conducive to winning is my job as the head coach to make sure that I kind of get that rectified. And I'm very, very hands-on, as you can see. The last couple of weeks, I've let people go. I let somebody go last week, and yesterday it was the same deal, as far as a staff member. Had to let people go. So it's all about leading this program the proper way and holding everybody accountable, players, coaches, trainers, student assistants, everybody in this program, everybody that walk through this building on a daily basis is held to these standards. And if you're not meeting those standards, then, you won't be with us. I didn't sleep well. I didn't sleep Saturday. I was up all night watching everything. I looked at the game. I looked at all 5 games, as a matter of fact, on Saturday night, early Sunday morning. So I'm very hands-on because we got 7 SWAC games left. I'm sorry. And if we can get out of our own way, we're going to be okay. And anybody who watched the film know that it's not teams that are beating us, it's us beating ourselves. So we got to get out of our own way and make other teams beat us.
I appreciate the transparency, Coach.
Yes, sir.
Next question goes to Stephen Robinson.
Coach, I was curious to know in terms of points of emphasis this week and on the defensive side of the ball. I know Saturday you gave up nearly almost 300 yards in rushing to Alcorn. Is that something that you're going to be perhaps harping on as well, rush defense this week?
Absolutely. Rush defense, pass defense, eye discipline, bending your gaps, blocking, catching the ball, protecting the ball. So it's just a fundamental week for us. So we're going Tuesday, Wednesday, going to be big fundamental day. We'll still one day on Thursday, just kind of get prepared for our next opponent. But it's going to be fundamentals. We got the word throughout the building. This week, everybody understand we're getting back to the basic of just fundamental football.
And a follow-up question, Coach, if we have time. I know you touched on the evaluation of the program. In terms of self-evaluating, how important is that in terms of being a leader as well? And is that something that you encourage your players to do as well?
Absolutely. Everything starts with me. And before I, ask anybody to do anything, like I said, I'm looking in the mirror first. I was telling my players my pregame song is Michael Jackson, Man in the Mirror. So, everything starts with looking at yourself. So as a head coach, I have to look at me. There's some decisions I made on Saturday that I'm not happy about. Of course, hindsight is 2020. But there were times I should have went for a field goal when I went for it on 4th and 1. But everything starts with looking at yourself. Before you start looking out at others, you have to look at yourself. And particularly with me, being the leader of this program, everything starts with me looking at myself. Am I doing everything to put my assistant coaches in the best position? Are we doing everything to put these players in the best position to be successful? So, and then we go to our players and say, as coaches, we got to get better. We got to do better. But you also have to do your part too. So everybody have to look in the mirror and we all have to get better.
Great. Thank you, Coach. Wish you well next week.
Thank you.
Last question goes to Perry Daniels.
Hey, Coach, no, you didn't have the results that you were looking for, but Coach Thomas talked about the atmosphere there this past Saturday. Can you talk about going up against your childhood friend, as you described him last week, like a big brother to you? Can you talk about going up against him in that packed stadium there in Itabeta?
Man, I can give you coach speak and just say, something that's good for TV, but I don't think about that. When we out there between those white lines, it's not about that. That never crossed my mind. It's just another opponent, another game. So, I never think like that. My mind doesn't work like that. Obviously, before the game, we had a moment. After the game, I had a moment with him, had a moment with his mom and hugged her and kissed her and took pictures with her. But at that moment, it's all about my team going against the opposing team. And that's 100% of my thought process. Nothing else. Never ever pop in my mind that I'm going against my childhood friend, a big brother like that. Never, ever crosses my mind in between those white lines.
Oh, I appreciate the authenticity, Coach. Thank
Yes,
you.
sir.
Coach, as always, we appreciate your time. Look forward to speaking to you again next week.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you. All right, next we're going to go over to Prairie View A&M and Coach McDowell with the Prairie View A&M Panthers. Once again, if you do have any questions, please utilize the raise your hand feature to get your question in the queue. With that being said, happy to be joined by Coach McDowell with Prairie View A&M. Good morning, Coach.
Good morning, everybody. Morning.
Coach, as always, appreciate you taking some time to join us. Coach, if you could please start us out with an opening statement recapping your team's most recent outing versus Grambling State.
Wow. Wow is just a big word. Again, just give all honor and glory to God for that victory. It was exciting. Never been a part of a 5-time overtime deal, man. It was again just exciting to be in an environment where you got two great universities going against each other, battling, scoring, stopping for 5 overtimes is unheard of. But again, just grateful to be a part of the winning side of it, man. Again, it was exciting to see the PV Nation fans show up the way they showed up. I'm so grateful to turn around and just see what we saw in that stadium. And it was electrifying. And again, if you missed that one, golly, sorry on you, but always great to come out with a victory against a great team like that, well-coached team, offensively, defensively, and it was good for us, So we just had to come out of halftime, going into halftime, I had to come to Jesus talk with the coaching staff and look, this is what I need to expect. Why we're not playing this person, why we're not playing this guy. I need you to play this guy. Then, then went downstairs and had a come to Jesus talk with the players as well. Like, hey, we've been here before. We got to figure out, stop shooting ourselves in the foot, and figure out again how to win this game in the second half, they called me in, after I threw a couple of Gatorades, on the floor that I normally don't do. But man, they said, Coach, we got you. They called it in and, they got together and man, we came out and it was a different second half.
Appreciate those opening comments, Coach. First question goes to Perry Daniels.
Coach, I thank Coach Joseph earlier. I want to thank you. It was a very entertaining football game and probably the best game on at that time slot. So anyway, let's talk about the grit of your team, the way they were able to get off the mat and keep your SWAC Western Division title hopes alive with this victory.
Yeah, and we talked about that again, not throughout the whole week, but again, I mentioned it to them again, not only to the coaches, like I said, and I'll come to Jesus talk, at halftime. And then when I went downstairs, told them, hey, look, guys, what's at stake right now. What are you going to do? Again, we're going to have coaches that put you guys in position to make plays this second half. And some players are going to get the opportunity to get out there and play that this second half that didn't get a chance to play the first half, and who's going to make some plays, and again, those guys put it on each other back, man, and that's what they do, and that's what we wanted to see, again, just to come out second half and just play together as a team. And again, we always talk about playing 4 quarters of football, but again, we have yet to do that. And that was a perfect opportunity as it turned out, for these guys to come out in second half and do what they promised and promised what they said they was going to do. And again, that just play, a full half of football in order for us to secure that victory.
And Aiden Jones, Coach, can you talk about his impact?
Man, Aiden's getting better each and every week. This young man is going to be he's gonna be hard to keep. With this new, I'm just being real, with this new NIL stuff going on, man, as crazy as it is. God, his upside is so big, man. And I just love the way he approaches the game. Again, always learning, and you see why he gets better and better each week, man. And that's what you want, again, not only to lead by, just get better on the field, but also lead by example throughout the week, through film study, and through practice as well. Great things ahead for Aiden. I promise you that.
Thank you, Coach. And once again, great game.
Thank you.
Next question goes to Doc Holliday.
Good morning, Coach. How you doing today?
What up, Doc?
Oh man, that was an exciting game to be in the house. For 2.5 quarters, it seemed like you couldn't get anything going.
Mhm.
But then you make the change to Jaden Johnson because of the injury to Cam Peters, and he basically sparked the rally for y'all in the third or fourth quarter, then heading into overtime. Tell us about Jaden and what he brings to the team offensively.
He did just that, and spark. I mean, it wasn't, again, let me correct, it wasn't an injury to Cam. Again, Cam wasn't getting it done at that particular time, so it was a situation, Coach Wade said it earlier, about him making decisions. He didn't make decisions early in the game, in certain games, but and now he had to make that decision. Again, I did the exact same thing. I probably should have did it in the Southern game, but again, that was a game that was in the past, and I said to myself, look, we got 3 quarterbacks that was battling whole summer with one another. Again, chose to go with Lucas and again get hurt. Cam was next, and Jaden was next. So again, like I told, that was one of the meetings we had, at halftime. I'm like, coaches, dude, we got another quarterback, that can get this thing done. Let's put him in position to make plays. Let's put these other players in position to make plays. Because this is what you do. This is what I brought you here to do. Again, they responded. So again, Jaden, again, we know what he can do, man. Again, it was just getting him in there, change the scenery, I guess you could say. We needed a spark, and he brought that spark to us that second half.
All right, appreciate your time, Coach.
Thank you.
Next question goes to Lionel Mosby.
Hey, how you doing, Coach McDowell?
Good, Lionel.
Hey, you guys were, we talked about the first couple games, the red zone, only 4 touchdowns, 4 field goals, in the red zone. But this game, 5 for 5 in the red zone, 3 touchdowns and 2 field goals. What did you guys see there that you feel really helped you to really improve on your red zone efficiency this game and really get the job done?
Lionel was just simple guys doing what the coaches asked them to do. I mean, previously, we make a call or we call a play, and guys try to do their own thing, and that's when it doesn't happen. Again, we talked about it all week. We talked about it again at halftime. Again, not only me with them individually as a team, should I say, after I left the coaches, but then when the coaches came down, they talked with their group, again, just making plays, doing what we asked you guys to do. And if you do that, we think we can make a lot of good things happen. But it's just when they don't do it, and try to make things happen on their own, that we get caught and we don't make that play that we should. Again, there was plays even before the overtime that we feel that have our guys did what they're supposed to do, being where they're supposed to be, it wouldn't even win into overtime.
And then I want to also ask you, because, we have that defense that's been playing solid, also the same last year, the same as this year, where they play very well in different spurts, and really always give us a chance to stay in games or to really, win games. That second half, we saw it again. What was it? I mean, how can you, see that pressure that really was on Miles Crawley all throughout this game, from the front 4 to front 7? How do you guys, bottle that up and this game against Graham?
Again, we just got to stay the course. Coach Rod called up some great blitzes. He called up the defense that, he thought would, stop us Grambling. And again, it's about our guys going out and executing. If And when they decide they want to execute the call, we're pretty goddamn good. You know, it's just comes down to a lot of times, you know, guys want to make plays, and you know, they step out of their comfort zone and try to do something totally different. You know, and again, it's us as coaches to make sure that, you know, and that's why I challenge them guys at halftime. Let's put these guys, that players that we know can get out there and play, put them in position to make plays, and just let them go play and make plays to have fun with it. You know, that's what they did that whole second half. You know, again, that's what we got to continue to do, you know, going forward. You know, and again, they do it, we're pretty good. When they don't do it, we're not as good.
Thanks so much, Coach.
Last question goes to Kendrick. We'll try to get 2 more questions quickly. First one to Kendrick Marshall.
Yeah, Coach. Going back to the QB situation. Will Jaden be the starter moving forward?
Well, I don't know about moving forward, but I mean, starting this week, absolutely. Yeah, we're gonna stay with that momentum right now because I'm not a big advocate of changing, switching quarterbacks in and out. You know, so again, but right now, he will be the starter as of right now. Again, unless something just happens to where, you know, we have to make a decision again, and we'll do that. But when that time comes, you know, we'll make that decision.
I appreciate it, Coach.
Last question goes to Ty Miller.
Hey, Coach. Good morning. How are you doing?
Hey, G, what's going on?
I'm good, Coach. What can you tell us about the Cardinals of Incarnate Word and the matchup with them coming up this weekend?
Again, yeah, they're big boys, man. You know, they're gonna get into a little spread. They're gonna you know, run that zone. They're gonna run a counter with the big boys, 13, 12, 23 personnel, man. You know, it's gonna be big boy, you know, football coming downhill. They got 2 good quarterbacks that can run. One more of a runner than a thrower. So again, just us going there, and again, just, you know, regrouping this week, and, you know, getting healthy, and again, just going out, you know, forgetting about Grambling game, and get ready for Connell Word, and you know, and play some good football again. I really believe we'll be ready to go again for these guys as well, and we just got to make sure that, you know, we can play again just 4 quarters of football, both sides, you know, and also special teams as well. You know, defensively, offensive shadow, we just got to keep doing what we're doing. You know, we got to put guys in position to make plays. You know, we got to, you know, you guys know as well as football, in football, we think we honed in on a couple of spots, you know, and we got to explore them. Offense, defense, you know, and special teams as well.
All right. Thank you, Coach.
Coach, as always, we appreciate your time. Look forward to speaking to you again next week.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. All right, next we're going to go to Southern University and Coach Graves. Once again, if you have questions, please utilize the raise your hand feature to get your question in the queue. And please ensure that your line is muted unless you are actively asking our coaches a question. With that being said, happy to be joined by Coach Graves with Southern University. Good morning, Coach.
Good morning, Andrew. How are you?
You're doing great, Coach. Appreciate you. Coach, obviously this past week, a bye week for your program. If you can just kind of start us out, just kind of assessing your program this past week.
Well, we had of course, we had a bye week. What we did last week was we did a self-scout first 2 days. In the words of a former colleague of mine, Coach Broderick Fobbs, we had to scratch where it itched. And so we did a self-scout on us to see the things that we did well, what did we do well, what things that we don't do well, and we looked at our personnel as well. And so we did that on Monday and Tuesday. We just basically went out and we worked on the things that we needed to do to clean up, and we also addressed the penalties. That was a big concern of mine. The Jackson State week, I think we had 5 penalties, but then again last week, when we played Prairie View, we had I think it was 10 or 11 penalties, and that's just totally unacceptable. You know, you can deal with guys playing hard and making, you know, penalties from playing hard and effort and stuff like that, but it's the 15-yard penalties, the unsportsmanlike conducts, the personal fouls. Those things are unacceptable, and even the mental deal, you know, the false starts and the offsides. So we got their attention, and we really put some emphasis on that, and we took care of things internally in-house in terms of the selfishness of getting those penalties, and we held guys accountable, and we held the team accountable, And so I think they understand now that we can't, in order for us to accomplish what we want to accomplish, we have to make sure that we don't be undisciplined and do those things to shoot ourselves in the foot.
Appreciate those opening comments, Coach. First question goes to Jim Kleinpeter.
Yeah, Coach, I was wondering how much Xavier T said got to practice last week and kind of the status of the quarterback situation moving forward.
Well, he moved around last week. He's progressing daily. He's still now he's out of his boot. He has a soft cast on now, and he's throwing and moving around. It was good to see him on last week, towards the end of last week, out there and trying to step and throw the ball around. So he's a fighter. He's a warrior. So not rushing anything. Just going to allow the medical team and the doctors to do what they do and just bring him along. We're not going to put him in jeopardy and rush him back. And then that gave Noah and Jalen Woods and Angelo gave them a great opportunity to get some work. But what we were doing offensively and working on the system. So it's good to see him move around. He's like I say, it's a day-to-day deal based on how he progresses, and we'll go from there.
And then on the offensive line, it looked like they had a much better second half against Prairie View. Was that what you saw in the film? And what are you going to do with them moving forward?
No question about it. The guys played really well in the second half of the game. Again, I think when you got one, possibly two guys that return on the offensive line, yeah, we got some older guys. Those guys are gelling. Nothing beats game experience. So those guys have to have the opportunity to get in there and go through the highs and lows of playing together. And those guys, at halftime, those guys made a commitment to go out there and be what they're capable of being, and we saw that. And it also this past week, during the off week, we worked on some things to help those guys out, as well as just give them an opportunity to continue to grow and gel. So we're excited about their growth and how they're coming along.
Thank you, Coach.
Mm-hmm.
Next question goes to Perry Daniels.
Hey, Coach.
How you doing, Perry? Good morning.
I'm doing well. How are you, sir?
Fine, thank you.
Hey, Coach, I want to talk about Herman Brister III. He had 12 tackles in that Prairie View game. Talk to me about him.
Well, it's funny. Trey, as we call him, his father was a GA for us when I was here the first time at Southern. And I remember when Trey was born. So that's how long I've been knowing Trey. And Trey, he's from a football family. His grandfather was a great high school coach here in the area. His dad was a high school coach. Now he's an administrator. And to see Trey, Trey was a really good athlete right across the street at Southern Lab. He wound up going to Air Force Academy, and we got a call that he got in the transfer portal. He got a call that he wanted to come home. So it was a no-brainer to bring him back here. And Trey came in and he didn't run the jump in anything. He learned everything he needed to learn. Trey's a tremendous athlete. He's a smart young man. He's very physical and he's very athletic. So he loves to be around that football, and he wants to try to make every tackle. And that's the thing that you have to do when we have to kind of pull him back a little bit, because he has to remember he's a safety, not a linebacker. So he's a pleasant young man. He's a great addition to our team and our program.
That's awesome. The Nicholls State Colonels, Coach. You've gone up against one Southland opponent already this season, didn't get the results that you were looking for. This Nicholls State team may be better than that team. What do you expect in A.W. Mumford Stadium this Saturday night?
Well, I know that Coach Rebo, he and I been knowing one another for some years, and I know he has a really good program, solid program. Those guys are going to be fired up. They're going to be ready to go. They came to Baton. You know, we want to protect our house. They do a fine job of running the football. You know, they have some size, and those guys are going to be physical, and our guys are physical, and we gotta be able to first stop the run and then defend the pass because they do a good job with the RPO. And so we just got to make sure that our eyes in the right place. We're reading our keys and we're attacking, and we gotta score on offense and move the football, and then we got to take the ball away on defense, and then when the opportunity presents itself in the kicking game, we have to be opportunistic in that as well. So it's gonna be a huge challenge for us, but I think our guys are understanding what's going on. They kind of understand the deal that we let one get away with one Southland Conference team, so they're chomping at the bit to try to get back even. So I'm excited. We're excited. We'll see what happens on Saturday.
Thank you, Coach. Good luck.
Thank you.
Next question goes to Jim Kleinpeter.
Yeah, Coach, I was wondering if Kelby Givens is getting as much double team attention as y'all expected this year, and how has that helped the defense? I know you said it's going to open some things up for some of the other players, but has it worked out that way?
Well, when you been picked as the preseason defensive player of the year, you're gonna garner a lot of double teams, sometimes triple teams. So Kelby, they're paying a lot of attention to Kelby, rightly so. He's doing a great job. And so what that does, it does help free up some other guys, and Darius Harris is doing a good job as well on the opposite end, and then Davin Cotton and Willie Miles and those guys are inside, so it frees up something for our linebackers to make plays. So he's getting what when you get labeled, you're gonna get that kind of attention, and he's working hard to make sure that he does what he's supposed to do within what we're doing schematically. So no, we're not surprised. We knew that going in, and so we just have to make sure that we do some things to free him up and give him opportunity to be the player that he is.
Is he handling it okay? I mean, does he get frustrated sometimes? Because I know that can be frustrating.
Well, he's a competitor. Kelby, he gets frustrated because he wants to make every play. So that level of frustration is what you want as a head coach or as a coach, period. You want your players to be frustrated because they want to make every play. But outside of that, he's a leader. He understands. He does what he's all in. He's a team player. It's part of our team deal. He's all in. So he understands it. He knows what comes with it, and he just continues to work to do his part.
Coach, as always, we appreciate your time. Look forward to speaking to you again next week.
All right, thank you.
Sure, thank you. All right, next we go over to Texas Southern and Coach Cris Dishman. We'll be back momentarily. We are working to reach Coach Dishman with Texas Southern. I do see that we have Coach Taylor on the call with us. So we may make an adjustment, but we will confirm that we'll be back here momentarily. We are trying to get Coach Dishman logged in. He's having some issues with his connection there, but we will have him here hopefully momentarily. Appreciate your patience. All right, we're having some issues with our connection with Coach Dishman. With that being said, I do see that we have Coach T.C. Taylor with Jackson State with us, and they have agreed that they can move their time slot up. All right, do you see that we have Coach with us? Morning, Coach.
Good morning. How we doing?
Doing great, doing great. Coach, as always, we appreciate your time. Take some time to join us. If you could start us out with an opening statement, recapping your team's most recent outing at Texas Southern.
Good weekend. Good to go get that first road win for our program. I thought our team came out and played well in all three phases of the game. You know, we had some explosive plays offensively, defensively. They got after the quarterback well, had a turnover over there, 4 or 5 sacks on the defensive side, and was able to generate quite a few explosive plays offensively. So anytime you can go on the road, going into Houston and get a win against a solid Texas Southern football team, it's good for our program. We really get putting that one behind us. Looking forward to this weekend for the Gulf Coast Classic against Alabama A&M.
Appreciate that.
He had nearly 300 total yards of offense, including 4 touchdowns. Did he do enough in your mind to solidify himself as the starter moving forward, or will you still reevaluate the position?
We always just gonna, we go out here and practice and let these guys figure it out. We put together a good plan. He worked his butt off last week. He's been working his butt off all year long. You see the ability and the things he brings to the game, to this offense when he's out there. So long as he's doing it the right way, he'll be the guy to go out there and lead this football team.
And my follow-up question is, how pleasing was it to have balance on offense this week between the run and the pass?
It was good. It was a good feeling. Anytime our offensive line is playing at a high level, you're able to have that balance whether you're throwing the ball, in play action stuff, or just taking shots and run the ball. So anytime our offensive line is playing well, it makes life easier on that offensive side.
Next question goes to Doc Holliday.
Good morning, Coach. How you doing today?
Good, Doc. How are you?
Doing good. Team ran for 256 yards, average 6.2 yards per carry, and also had the time of possession won in this game. What are some things you want to tell people about the offensive line going forward?
That's something we hang our hat on, being able to run the football. Coach Manny has done a great job with those guys. We got a lot of depth over there. We had a couple guys get banged up in that game. and those young guys stepped in and didn't skip a beat. But anytime you can run the football, you can open things up, as far as taking shots over the top. And, we're going to continue to do that. The running backs ran well, Herb Mulligan, Des Moultrie, all those guys played well, Travis Terrell, so that's something we talked about going into this season, being able to hand the ball off. And you hit it, the nail on the head. It helps with the time of possession. You can really control the ball, control the football game when you're able to do those things.
And that leads up to my second question. Travis Terrell, man, tell us how special he is, with over 150 yards of total yardage in the game.
Well, you just try to find ways to get it into his hands. You think as a true freshman, you be concerned about his workload and how much you try to put on him as far as the knowledge of the game and stuff, but he's a very intelligent kid. He was a highly recruited kid coming out of high school. We've seen it day one when he stepped on campus here in our program, how mature he was. On the practice field, he's explosive. You saw that this weekend. He's made a lot of big plays all year long. So, his best football is still ahead of him. He's still learning a lot. But you talk about a truly explosive football player that can do it in a lot of positions. Had the great kickoff return. He almost returned the one before that, so explosive guy that brings a lot to the table, and I'm really blessed to have him on this football team.
I appreciate the time, Coach.
No problem. Thank you.
Next question goes to Perry Daniels.
Hey, Coach, how you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm well, sir. Let's talk about what you've seen on film regarding the Alabama A&M Bulldogs.
Defensively, they got some big guys up front. They've done a good job. Coach Maynor's done a great job of recruiting over there. A good friend of mine, and he's going to have those guys ready to play. They got some linebackers that really fly around on that second level. They can really play the game fast. So, just a big physical defense. Offensively, they're going to spread it out, and they're going to, they can throw the ball around. They can run the football. So we just got to be ready to play. We'll continue to, game plan for them this week, these next few days. Have three great practices lined up here Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and, travel down to Mobile. And it's going to be a great football game in the Gulf Coast Classic.
Absolutely. Coach, talk about your quarterback, McCoy. How is he, and will he play this week? He played this past week, correct?
No, he did not. He did not. It was Zy McDonald. He's dealing with a thigh bruise right now. But he should be back upright. We'll evaluate all those guys this week, and go with the guy that practices the best.
Awesome. Thank you, Coach.
I appreciate it.
Any final questions for Coach?
Andrew, I got another one.
Yes, sir.
People want to know the status of Evan Henry, the all SWAC guard that we have.
Yeah,
what's his availability?
We don't know yet. He'll see the doctor today. He'll go into the doctor today and get that leg checked out. Had the injury the other night in that game, so be a huge loss if he's not able to go this week. But we got some other guys that are able and ready to step up, but we just don't have that information yet. He hadn't went to the doctor yet.
And one last question is, what do you tell your team once you get up big in the game? What do you tell your team in trying to make sure that they don't lag or kind of fall asleep at the wheel, and pretty much kind of make sure they continue to dominate the game?
I talked to him about staying on the gas, what got us to that point with that lead, and let's finish that way. In the second half, we kind of gave up a couple touchdowns right there in the game, kind of got a little close, but that's why I called them up as a group right there on the 50-yard line during the game and told them, this is not the way we started the game. It's not the JSU standard. We got to finish the way we started, and they came out and responded to that.
All right, now I appreciate you, Coach.
All right, thank you.
Any final questions for Coach Taylor? Coach, as always, we appreciate your time. Look forward to speaking to you again next week.
All right, thank you, guys. Appreciate you.
Thank you. Once again, if you do have any questions for Coach, please utilize the raise your hand feature to get your question in the queue. And please ensure that your lines are muted unless you're actively asking a question. Please wait to be acknowledged prior to asking your question. Do you see that we have Coach in the Zoom session with us? Good morning, Coach.
Good morning, everybody. How you doing?
Great, Coach. Appreciate you asking. Coach, as always, we appreciate you taking some time out of your schedule to join us. Coach, could you start us out with an opening statement recapping your team's most recent outing versus Jackson State?
Well, it wasn't an outcome we wanted. Jackson State jumped on us and jumped on us fast and in hurry, and we couldn't respond to what they was doing. So as a coach, I put it on myself, and I got to make sure our guys is well prepared to respond because when someone throw a right hook at you and they keep doing uppercuts on you, and we just couldn't respond like I wanted us to respond. So hats off to Jackson State. They had a heck of a game plan versus us. We hope to see them again down the road.
Appreciate those opening comments, Coach. We'll now open for questions for Coach Dishman. Once again, if you do have any questions, please utilize the raise your hand feature to get your question in the queue. First question goes to Perry Daniels.
Hey, Coach, this Jackson State team is extremely physical up front on both sides of the ball. Talk about that aspect of the team and how that affected your game plan.
Well, they got a good front on both sides, offense and defense. Of line is very good. It always starts up front. I tell our guys the same thing. It starts up front with O-line, D-line. If you can move the ball, run the ball, stop the run, you're more likely you're going to win the game. And they was able to run and pass. We did not make them one-dimensional. They was able to run and pass on us. They had, in all three phases, they really beat us in all three phases. Also in our special team units, we had some mishaps in our special team units. Some guys running out their lanes, so therefore they got long returns, low snap, fumble snaps, and that's how they was able to block a punt.
Thank you, Coach.
Currently taking questions for Coach Dishman with Texas Southern. Once again, if you have a question, please utilize the raise your hand feature to get your question in the queue. Floor is now open for questions. Coach, obviously this upcoming week, you return home for homecoming against Virginia Lynchburg. If you could just kind of preview that matchup.
Well, it's first time being here in the SWAC. I can see what homecoming is all about for HBCU campus. It's buzzing around here, preparing, power washing, fixing stuff, cutting grass. It's so active around here. So it's I can see now what homecoming is all about. Each and every week, I'm telling my players that each and every day they have something going on campus. But as a player, the homecoming is not for the players. It's for the alums and for the student body. Players can never enjoy homecoming. If you do, you're not going to play a good game.
Next question goes to Doc Holliday.
Morning, Coach. How you doing? I'm sorry.
Doc?
Good afternoon.
Yes.
Give us a assessment on Jordan Davis, your quarterback, and how you feel like he played on Saturday.
Well, I tend to forget that Jordan is just a freshman. He's a freshman. He's going to help this team in the long run to be very successful. He played okay, but he didn't play well enough for us to win. And we made some mistakes around him. Our line made some mistakes around him that cost him to have the pressure in his face. But Jordan is the guy that's going to help us win a lot of football games with.
And my follow-up question: we know that you preach making sure that you don't turn the ball over and you keep the penalties to a minimum. But you had a penalty, but you also had 6 penalties for 39 yards. What are you trying to tell your team as far as with the discipline on keeping the football in hand, but also making sure that you don't do it, you don't have any penalties
Well,
as a whole?
You got to win the turnover battle, win the penalty battle. Jackson State's too good of a team for us to have a lot of penalties and have a turnover. We threw that crucial interception. Jordan was trying to throw the ball out of bounds. The ball stayed in bounds. They intercepted, and that was a key point of turning the game around. So we have to be able to throw the ball out of bounds or go ahead and take the sack. So he's learning from the mistake. But we all make mistakes in life, and we just have to keep learning from them.
Appreciate your time, Coach.
Any final questions for Coach? Coach, as always, we appreciate your time. Look forward to speaking to you again next week.
All right, thank you guys. Have a great one.
Thank you. All right, this concludes our SWAC football head coaches media.